10 months ago, I started filming in my garden and sharing it, well, with myself in the videos and sharing it here on YouTube. So today I want to talk about what that has been like for me, and also share like the transition of the garden from spring, when I started, well, it was actually late winter, spring, until now, which is the end of fall, and winter's right around the corner. It is actually really kind of cold today, but today's the first day where it hasn't been raining and cold and the sun is out, so it's like a perfect time. Well, first of all, I grew up gardening. My family had a garden, my parents had a garden, but they grew mostly food, so like, you know, vegetables. But I have, before I started doing this, sharing this on YouTube, on another platform, I was already sharing like my videos, like my Instagram. I was sharing videos of my garden constantly, and I really just wanted to like try out filming longer form videos to see, I just wanted to learn the process of like editing and filming and that type of thing. It was already a hobby of mine, so you know, I've had several hobbies that I've gone through, which some of them have stuck, some of them have not, but gardening has been something I've always done, so I thought, why not? So I took my phone, I went outside, and I made a, I don't want to say awkward video, but I was very nervous. You could barely hear me. I wasn't talking loud enough, and the wind was blowing, but I just wanted to like record the video, talk a little bit, share around my garden, and then just post it and see what happened. I almost deleted it several times. I got nervous, I got paranoid. Don't ask me why, but anyway, I was like, oh no, this is a bad idea, but I left it. I ended up leaving it, and so that was my first video, actually back in the middle of February. So since then, I have been sharing videos of my garden. So now I just kind of want to talk a little bit about the different seasons and show how far the garden has come this year. Okay, the sun is moving, it's in my face. Okay, so I want to talk about the different seasons. So the spring, I started prepping my garden and getting it ready for spring, just kind of clearing out little areas, and actually started planting some in March. So in March, I was planting elephant ears for the first time, caladiums for the first time, planting some other seeds for the first time, and just kind of getting the garden ready for the year. So the elephant ears from Costco ended up being like one of my favorite things of the year that I planted. So the Costco elephant ears, I planted floret dahlia seeds, floret dahlias from seed. Those did really well. I planted those out in little containers, and then just that during that time of the year, March, I was mostly just kind of getting the garden ready and experimenting with what I could plant in March. In April I started also planting out like my favorite flowers of the year. Every year I plant zinnias, sunflowers, Mexican sunflowers, and cosmos. So the majority of the year, you know, I would say majority of the summer I focused on planting those types of seeds because they're my favorite in the garden. They do so well every year, and they're just like the kind of like showstopper of the summer, especially zinnias typically. Also during this time of the year, I had a bed of right here behind me, Shasta daisies, echinacea, and black-eyed Susans, and there was a couple over here too. They did so well in the spring. It was just like a magnet for pollinators, and that ended up being like one of my favorite spots in the garden this year. So that was around the middle of spring, early summer, and then once summer arrived, you know, that is really the peak of blooms. Well, it's the peak of certain types of warm season blooms. So more zinnias, more cosmos, the dahlias were starting to grow even bigger, and then cosmos everywhere. You know, I just kept reseeding doing more, sharing more videos about planting those, like succession planting, where you just continue to plant more, like plant some one week, the next week plant more, the next week plant more, depending on how much space you have. This season in the summer is also a big season of maintenance, so lots of watering, either hand watering, or if you have soaker hoses, whatever you have, it's just kind of constant, every couple of days or whatever, sometimes every day. It's also like it's the peak season for blooms, but it's also the peak season for weeds. It's also the peak season for pests, so fighting pests, pulling weeds. But one of my things that I did to kind of help make some of those tasks not so dreaded is I would listen to audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks when I'm outside, and that kind of helps me get through like that task without it feeling like such a dread. During this time of year, it's also like a harvesting season, where if you have flowers or vegetables or whatever that you want to harvest, you're harvesting, every week or every day, depending on what you do with your garden. And for me, it's mostly just flowers. And it's also a time of the year where you get to enjoy this like microclimate, or little climate that you created in your backyard, or like safe haven for pollinators, where all the butterflies, all the bees, all the hummingbirds are coming to the garden to enjoy this area and all this hard work that you put in. The other thing about this time of year in the summer, it is very, very, very hot. Where I live, many plus 100 degree days, and in the summer it gets so hot, and it especially in August and September. Well, September is kind of getting into the fall area, but in August there's like no rain. It is so hot. The garden is starting to get a little tired, but it's still going. I'm still planting, and then we transition into fall. Fall is truly one of my favorite seasons in the garden. It feels like summer should be that favorite season, or the spring, but fall is starting to cool down. You don't have necessarily as many blooms unless you've prepared, but sometimes during that time of year, I do have other blooms. I'll have marigolds, still zinnias. I still planted zinnias, I think, even in August this year, and then I started planting and like planting for like cooler season flowers. For example, straw flowers, which are new for me this year, snapdragons, and I even planted some ornamental grass back here that I also got from Costco. So trying out some new things, and kind of slowing down in the garden, where it's not just the hustle and bustle of the hot summer garden time. I also tried out like a few DIYs this year, which I do anyway, but I shared them on here, where I painted some pumpkins, like fall decor pumpkins that I used, like spray painted those. Just started working on little projects, and also the dahlias were still blooming in the fall. They were still going strong, and so were the Mexican sunflowers. The Mexican sunflowers are just like a high point of the season. They're beautiful, they're tall. Some of them probably were over 12 feet tall this year, and they just bloomed and bloomed and bloomed, and continued to bring pollinators, butterflies, bees, hummingbirds to my backyard. I also took you along to the garden center and showed the beautiful garden center mums that we have in our community, and I didn't buy any, but they are just stunning. So I wanted to share those because they are just amazing. So now we have reached the end of fall, and I've been working on other projects in the garden, like leaf mulch, which is kind of a favorite time of the year of mine. The backyard is filled with leaves. It's so pretty, it's so colorful. And then I take that mulch and take those leaves and turn them into mulch for my garden for the winter, to help suppress weeds, keep the garden from drying out. And it's just like, it gives a lot of organic matter back to the garden. We also had our first frost, which sadly killed is such a strong word, which sadly ended the Mexican sunflowers, which I thought I was ready. I wasn't ready, but you know, once they were gone, there was nothing I could do about it. I have actually left those up for the birds to enjoy the seeds. And I've also been I visited garden centers to share like the evergreens that I purchased for my garden. These are steed holly trees, and I'm going to plant those out somewhere in my garden this year, or my yard. I'm not sure where yet. So that is really just kind of a recap of the garden. Is in quick, you know, kind of quicker. Is that quick? So all of that to recap and say like what I've learned over the past 10 months, 3 seasons of sharing in the garden, is that what I've learned is that I can do this, have this hobby and be unafraid to try something new, like filming, talking in front of a camera, editing, and just sharing something that I enjoy with other people, and also documenting this journey for myself. And I can have this hobby that like reduces stress for me. There are a lot of times this summer, this past year in particular, I was extremely overwhelmed, and so I came out to the garden. I would put on an audiobook and pull weeds, or come out to the garden and water the plants, because it shifted my focus from me and my worries to like caring for something else. And then of course I would come out here, and the bees and the butterflies would be out here, or the hummingbirds, and it would just take my mind off of life stress. We have a lot of stress in our lives, constantly flooded with it on media, and it's nice to have like a hobby for yourself. This is like a midlife hobby for me, which I've been doing for years, but sharing it this past 10 months there have been ups and downs. It's been a joy. Sometimes filming and editing takes longer than gardening itself. I mean, so it's a good thing if you can, you know, this has been my primary hobby this year. But it's good if you know, whatever phase of life you're in, you know, if you're a parent, if you aren't a parent, if you focus mostly on your job or your health, your medical issues, whatever, if you can find something to get your mind off of those things. And for me, it's gardening. So it's just one of those things that I can do. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it, even though my family is supportive. It's a hobby that I can do, that I don't have to depend on other people to do it with me or enjoy it or not. It's just something that I enjoy that kind of helps me focus on like positivity and being calm, like being more calm in general. So I'm continuing to work in my garden, and I'm already planning for next year, excited for next year. Can't wait till the, you know, stores get out like their new garden things in the spring. I'll be going to Costco looking for more elephant ears and other things. So it's the end of fall, and as I transition into winter, I'm going to continue like working in my garden, trying to stay warm. It's been colder than usual, but if you have watched before and been coming back, thank you. If you're new here, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.